no, 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 no. Not again.
My name is Stuart Wheeldon. I'm a writer and filmmaker based in Worksworth. Like others, I started to hear about the stories that some of the residents of Worksworth had been reporting to the newspapers. Reports of UFOs in the sky. It was then during this time that I was contacted by Arthur Peterson.
My name is Arthur Peterson. I haven't been back to Worksworth in a long time, decades. The mid-'80s. My parents lived here for a while. I was just visiting. A young college student from California. During that time, something unusual happened to me. Something I've never really been able to explain. It involved the sky, a light, but it wasn't like anything I understood. It left a mark on me. A feeling that lingered even after I went back home, back to my life in America. Back in the States, I finished university. Studied aerospace engineering. Funny, isn't it? Spending your life trying to understand how things fly, the mechanics of it all, when you've seen something that defies all that. I built a career in it, though. Found a kind of order in the logic of it. Over the years, I'd seen news reports, documentaries about UFOs. I'd watch with a detached kind of curiosity, always searching for something that resonated, something that felt familiar. But nothing ever quite matched what I experienced that night near the quarry. For years, I put it all in the back of my mind, tried to move on. But lately, things have been stirring. A sense of unease. A feeling that something unresolved is pulling me back. The things I was hearing about Worksworth. Stories in the news. Whispers. This feeling, it's stronger now. The past is reaching out. I can't ignore it anymore. Why this place, why that night has stayed with me for so long. I don't know what I'll find here. But I have a sense that the answers are waiting.
In 2024, locals began to report strange lights in the sky, silent objects moving against the wind, and sightings of unknown aerial phenomena.
If you'd asked me that question before I saw the object, my answer would be very different. It would be, I don't believe in it. I think it's daft. How can there be civilizations so advanced at the same time that we exist? It seemed paradoxical, crazy. I didn't believe in it.
Dennis Higgins, a resident of Worksworth, was one of the first people to spot something strange in the sky.
Now, well, things have changed. I saw what I saw, and I can't imagine that it was anything other than what I think it was, which is a a craft from somewhere else.
The date was March the 14th, 2024. The time was 10:30 p.m.
I first noticed that something strange was happening after I'd spotted the owl. The owl flew across the garden, and I followed it, scanned the sky, as it were, following the bird. And that's when I saw the light. It was far off at first. And then it started approaching from the direction of Middleton by Worksworth, coming very steadily across the fields towards me.
Dennis wasn't alone in witnessing something in the skies above Worksworth. Jane Parker, a student, had recently returned back to Worksworth.
There is no lights coming from that wood. And I first saw some quite dark red and amber lights flickering in the woods, like flashing up from the trees, from the tree line, the treetops. And first I thought it was maybe someone with their torch, because no one lives there, so there's no house lights. It was a triangular shape, so the lights were like coming from each point of the triangle, and it was slowly spinning. I mean, I saw it from a distance, but the size of it looked like it could have been like a small jet plane, but it was not a plane. I've never seen a plane shaped like that before.
A triangular UFO was also seen by Elizabeth French, who lives just above Stony Wood in Wirksworth. Elizabeth didn't want to appear on camera. However, she did let me record her testimony.
It was just so lovely and quiet in the garden, and so still. And I just looked up and the sky was so clear, and I was laying there in my chair and I started counting the stars, seeing if I could see a shooting star or something. And then as I was looking there, I noticed a strange, silent light approaching from the direction of the Stardisc that's just above Stony Wood. And it was triangular in shape and dark in the middle. Oh, it was a big object. I would say it probably had to be about 300 feet across and 500 feet lengthwise. It was absolutely massive.
Most of the reported sightings seem to revolve around one area. That was Stony Wood and the Stardisc. Aiden Schingler is the designer and creator of the Stardisc.
Stardisc was inspired by a close encounter and was always intended for the purpose of initiating contact. Stardisc can be regarded as a radio telescope dish for transmitting brainwaves rather than radio waves. It has been said that thought travels faster than the speed of light. I don't refer to non-human intelligence as alien, for that term, to my mind, simply serves to alienate. We are all one cosmic family. The awareness and acceptance that ETs are a reality, accompanied by the hope that they are here to assist us, has the potential to transform humanity by deepening our spirituality, expanding our consciousness, and accelerating our evolution.
Worksworth for centuries was a place shaped by quarrying, its landscape bearing the marks of industry and resilience. A close-knit community where generations have known each other, and stories both ordinary and extraordinary are often whispered rather than shouted. Life here moves at a different pace, connected to the rhythms of the surrounding countryside. Yet beneath the surface of this seemingly tranquil setting, some residents carry memories of events that defy easy explanation. Arthur has returned back to Worksworth. Back for the anniversary. The anniversary of the night he saw something he couldn't explain. He tells himself he needs closure. The recent whispers, the local news reports of the new, unexplained lights in the sky have fueled this journey. Perhaps he hopes he wasn't alone in what he experienced in this very place.
It's like stepping back into a dream. Everything's familiar, the stone walls, the way the light plays in the morning. But it all carries this echo, a weight. For so long I tried to bury what happened, pretend that it was just a bad dream. Coming back, it stirred everything up. The memories are sharper, more insistent. The anxiety is a constant companion again. Every familiar corner I turn, every scent in the air triggers something. Fleeting image, a sudden chill. Worksworth, it's always been a place of whispers. Even when I was here as a young man, tales of strange lights above the moors, odd happenings out by the quarries. You'd heard them in the pubs, hushed conversations between the old-timers. My friends and I, we dismiss them as just stories or urban myths to spook each other. But then, even then, there was this feeling, a sense that things weren't always as they appeared beneath the surface of this quiet little town. And that night happened here. In this soil, under this sky. It wasn't some abstract nightmare in some faraway place. It was here. And it tainted this place for me. What was once familiar and comforting is now a source of dread. Every time I thought of Worksworth, that night would creep in, a cold knot in the pit of my stomach. Part of me, a big part of me, wishes I'd stayed away, left the past buried, let it fade into nothing. But I can't. Not anymore. The dreams are getting too real, too insistent. The stories, the lights. It's like the universe is nudging me, taunting me. I need to know, I need to find out. Whatever it was I saw, whatever else might have happened that night, living with this certainty
this constant gnawing, it's become a life sentence. Maybe finding out the truth, even if it is terrifying, maybe that's the only way I'll finally find some peace. And it's not just about the lights anymore. It's about me. It's about taking back something that I lost that night, my sleep, my peace of mind. And if there are others, if I'm not alone, then maybe, just maybe, we could all start to understand. So yeah, I'm apprehensive. Terrified, if I'm honest. But I'm also determined. I came back to Worksworth for a reason. And I'm not leaving until I have some answers one way or another. So, where do we start?
The familiar surroundings of Worksworth, once a comforting backdrop to Arthur's youth, now feel charged with a palatable tension. His return is a reluctant pilgrimage, driven by a desperate need to confront the ghosts of his past. Beneath the surface of his fear lies a steely resolve, a determination to unearth the truth, no matter how unsettling it may be. The journey back to Wirksworth is not just a geographical one, but a descent into the long-buried secrets of his own mind. As part of my research, I wanted to talk to a local historian. Clarara Black had recently moved into Worksworth. I was interested to know whether she could find any historical UFO sightings in the local newspaper archives. The following interview was made with the help of her son, as Clarara was away at the time of my filming.
You know, we're not dealing with an isolated incident or a flight of fancy here. We're dealing with a pattern, a recurring motif that's sort of spanned for decades. Well, you know, if we look at the Stardisc, which was constructed in 2011, you know, we've got documented accounts there where farmers have reported, you know, silent luminous craft sort of hovering over their fields, particularly around harvest time, you know, as if they're attracted by sort of some energy source. You know, Middleton Moor is a unique location. You know, it's remote, it's quite elevated, you know, and it's a very sort of complex geographical structure. You know, and some of the mines there, you know, and quarries, they're actually very, very deep. They're almost like labyrinthine. You know, what we do have is some reports from 1982 here, which is a prime example. You know, a local constable, a man of sort of impeccable reputation, he's described a luminous disc-shaped object hovering over the moor. You know, he's noticed its silent movement and the way it seemed to pulse with light. And then there are some more recent cases, in particular in 2016, you know, a local couple from Wirksworth, they've described multiple low-flying objects almost colliding, and, you know, and that was recorded in the Derbyshire Times. You know, and then, of course, we have the Bonsall incident.
The Bonsall incident?
Yeah, near Bonsall, which is a sort of few miles from here, you know, local residents reported numerous objects and sightings that sort of defied aerodynamics, you know, conventional aerodynamics. You know, there has been some footage, though it's not been widely circulated. You know, yeah, I mean, it's The Stardisc is a paradox, really. It's a modern arts installation, and its location has become sort of quite significant in that it's become quite a convergence for people who've had experiences to sort of share their stories.
And the local residents, how do they reconcile these phenomena with their daily lives?
Oh, the Wirksworth residents, they are very pragmatic but not dismissive. There's a feeling on Middleton Moor, sort of an intensity there. There's almost like a sort of a magnetic pull. It's if the land itself is sort of trying to say something, it's trying to communicate something, not with words, but sort of with energy and light. And it's just something that we all can't quite grasp.
When we first arrived in Worksworth, it felt like any other picturesque Derbyshire town. The moment you started speaking to people, the veneer cracks. It's not just Arthur's personal memory, it's a reoccurring theme. These fragmented accounts, these shared experiences of the inexplicable, they immediately suggested there was far more to this story than we could have anticipated. This quiet corner of Derbyshire held a secret, and it felt like it was ready to be uncovered. You contacted me, and we've got you over here to Worksworth. Tell me about the night.
Well, summer's evening, like I said, it's about late, 11, maybe 11:30. I've been visiting an old friend at a hospice close to the quarry. The clear sky, you know how it can get out here in the dales, away from the town lights, it's full of stars. Then I saw it. Over towards the hills. It wasn't a plane or a helicopter. It was silent. Just a light at first, but it moved different. It would stop sudden and then shoot off in another direction. No sound at all. I stopped walking. I just stood there, right in the middle of the road, just looking up at it. It moved closer. I could see a sort of shape then, not clear, like it was surrounded by a kind of haze, and with lights underneath, bright, pulsing lights. I felt cold. Not just the night air, but a real chill. And a feeling like, well, maybe I shouldn't be seeing this. Like I was intruding on something.
Did it come closer? What about the size of it?
I was still for a while. And I couldn't really make out the size. It was about 100 feet above the fields, but it was substantial. I mean, bigger than any car, maybe the size of a small truck. And like I said, those lights, I'd never seen anything like them. They changed colors. First they were white, and then blue, and then a kind of orangey red. Mm-hmm. And then just as suddenly as it appeared, it shot straight up into the sky. Gone in a blink. No sonic boom, no engine noise, just
maybe other people saw things too.
Arthur's story, told now after so many years, carries a tangible weight. It's more than just a faint memory. It's a persistent echo, a profound question that has haunted him for decades. The way he describes the pure white light, the chilling cold, and the sudden, profound impact. These aren't merely details of a visual event. They speak to something deeply invasive, something that left an indelible mark on his very being. His experience wasn't just what he saw, but how it fundamentally changed him, shaping the man he became. He came back to Worksworth because he heard the whispers. He'd seen the reports of renewed activity. High above Worksworth, where the ancient quarries give way to the reforested slopes of stony wood, sits the Stardisc, a modern monument to the stars. Recent accounts, witnessed from the very edges of this unique landscape, speak of lights and objects that defy explanation.
Well, when I first saw it come out of the trees, I kind of looked around to see if anyone else was watching, because I was like, this can't just be me. I thought I was going crazy, to be honest. And I thought, oh gosh, if I tell my friends this, they're going to think I'm bonkers. Been reading too many books. So I live on Green Hill, so I was walking up Green Hill, and at the top of Green Hill, you can see it's the whole of Stony Wood. There's a bit of a sheep's field, and then there's the outline of Stony Wood, the tops of the trees. The thing is that I had this adrenaline kicking in me, like, you need to see what that is, you need to go closer, you need to just run at it. But then also I had this pull that was saying, whatever is in there might kill you, whatever's in there might kill you. So it was hovering above the trees for about 3 to 4 minutes. And during that time, it was the blinking. It was doing the blinking on each of the corners of the spacecraft, and yeah, it was hovering. But the thing is, the weird thing is that everything else around it, when you see a helicopter hover, like everything else is blowing underneath it, but none of the trees were shaking. It was just silent. Suddenly, the light from it shot out, and it was this blinding light. It was like white light, kind of like studio lights. So you stare at them too long, you only see white. It was like a flash of white, and then I saw something flying up into the air. And I can't have been the only one that saw this object. Like, I can't. So yeah, this is what I'm telling you now, to get awareness out there for anyone else that might have seen the object that I saw. And if they've seen it closer up and seen anything else, I'd love to know more. If anyone else has seen this, please, please, please get in contact with me. I work at the library. Come in, talk to me about it if you've seen it.
I'd gone out into the garden to see if I could see a late flying owl. There is one that quite often passes over the garden. I'm an avid bird watcher and something I like to do. The weather was still, quiet. There was hardly a breeze really, just a slight one, rustling the privet. Otherwise, very still. And that's when I saw the light. It was far off at first. And then it started approaching from the direction of Middleton by Worksworth, coming very steadily across the fields towards me. As it got closer, I began to realise it was a triangular shape, and then when it started to hover over the next field, it was very definitely a triangle shape. Very dark, but with lights on each corner. Well, they were very bright, really bright, and they would sort of glow, glowing, almost pulsing. and it was just there. I think it was pretty big. It's hard to tell exactly because it was in the sky, you know, and it was dark, but I'd estimate it to be the size of possibly a tennis court, something like that. It was a big thing. It wasn't moving though, it was just still. And I was waiting to hear it, you know, and hear the engine, the noise of it, and there was nothing. And as it got closer and closer, still nothing. And then when it was over the field, suspended, hovering, nothing. You could still hear the breeze, you know, and rustling in the privet. I felt awestruck. I've never felt like that before in my life. Not awestruck. It's a word you use, but it doesn't really mean anything until you actually are it. And I was it. I was awestruck. I'd never seen anything like it. And confused. I was confused as to why it was there, and in my mind I was thinking, why me? Why am I the one that's looking at this thing? Why? First off, I called the police station. I thought somebody should know, you know. So I called the authorities because I thought that was the right thing to do. I was still in a kind of daze, actually. I was shocked, I suppose. I called them up now. Whoever I spoke to, I'm not sure if they believed me or not. But when I put the phone down, I thought, I won't be the last person that phones you tonight about that thing. No way I was the only one that saw it.
As our investigation into Worksworth deepened, the patterns we were uncovering led us to seek out experts in the field of unexplained aerial phenomena. This led us to Elliot Matthews, a renowned researcher with decades of experience in documenting and analysing similar reports given globally. Given the breadth of his work and his location, we sent him a series of questions. Here we hear his recorded responses. They offer an essential perspective on the phenomena we are now beginning to uncover.
Wirksworth, it's a fascinating area. The reports you've gathered, they resonate with patterns we've seen globally. Recurring locations for one, Stony Wood, the Stardisc and Middleton Moor, these places often seem to be focal points. What draws these phenomena to this particular part of the world? The Stardisc, perched above Worksworth, created with the intention of reaching out. Is it merely a coincidental piece of art? Or does it in some way amplify or attract the very phenomena we are investigating? The truth, as always, remains elusive. But the stories, the testimonies, the documented events, especially in places like Bonsall and the recent report from Worksworth itself, alongside the artistic endeavour of the Stardisc on Stony Wood, they paint a picture that is far more complex and intriguing than simple misidentification or folklore. And Arthur's journey back to Worksworth may be about to uncover a piece of that larger puzzle.
Arthur has brought us to this place, an old quarry just outside Wirksworth. He says this is where it happened, the night he saw whatever it was he saw. But today, the memories are different. They're not just about lights in the sky anymore.
This is it. Right here. I remember walking down there. It was here. It happened. Oh, here. And the fear of being taken.
What is it, Arthur?
I remember this place, this quarry. All those years, thinking that it was just a strange light, a dream.
It's okay.
No, it's not okay. I blocked it all. It happened here and it can happen again. But why me? Why me? I need to understand!
Returning to the scene of his initial sighting has unlocked a buried truth for Arthur. The familiar landscape of the Worksworth quarry has become a trigger, unleashing a flood of repressed memories and revealing the terrifying reality of his abduction. Mr. Frank Johnson, a farmer of 40 years, whose farm backs onto Middleton Moor, told me the tale of his own experience of seeing a UFO.
Oh, I can tell you what I saw. It were about 5 or 6 months ago. I'd been ploughing in the top field. It was late. I was working late that day. And the sky was clear. The stars were out. And I was driving the tractor back towards the farm. And all of a sudden, on my right side, I saw some strange lights. And I couldn't hear anything. There was no sound. It were just lights. Lights in the sky. Above the coppice wood, there's a wood at the top of that field. And it were very strange. Well, it wasn't a disc. And it weren't a triangle. It was like shifting. It kept shifting, like it was moving the energy around it. It were very strange. And it was moving quick. Like it would turn 90 degrees in the blink of an eye. 1 minute it was there, 1 minute it was here. I couldn't keep track of it. But it was there. Well, the next day I walked up the field just to have a look.
Cattle mutilations have been reported around the world for decades. These disturbing discoveries, characterised by precise, bloodless excisions, have often been accompanied by whispers and theories, sometimes dismissed, sometimes intensely debated, linking these bizarre events to the possibility of unidentified flying objects and forces beyond our conventional understanding.
I mentioned it to the guys in the pub. Yeah, they listened to my story. They said, oh, it must be a drone. Or maybe it was an airplane. I said, it wasn't no airplane. Airplanes make a noise. This one wasn't making a noise. And it weren't a drone.
So Arthur, how are you feeling? You went through a lot back there.
Like my head's full of broken glass. All these years of pushing it down, and then suddenly it just erupted. These feelings that place, the quarry. Something really happened to me. Something really happened there.
I want to share something with you. Something that might change the way you see things. Since you've arrived, I haven't just been focused on your story. I've been talking to people, locals, people who've lived here their whole lives. I've asked discreetly about anything unusual they might have seen in the sky over the years.
What? You asked people about seeing UFOs? You actually went around and asked people about little green men?
No, not exactly. I was a little bit more subtle. I just went and asked about strange lights and unusual aircraft, things that didn't fit the norm. And let me show you this. This is something I compiled. Presents someone I've spoken to directly who's recounted seeing something unexplained in the sky above Worksworth. If you note, different locations, different times, stretching back the years.
That's Stony Wood. What did they say they saw?
There's a woman who described a silent triangular UFO moving through the trees only last year. And then there's another person, much earlier, who talked about multiple lights moving in a formation. But if you note, near the quarry road, a farmer swore he saw a huge dark triangle with no sound.
Triangle, is it? Sometimes I might, in my dreams I saw a shape, dark, but that's exactly what I saw.
But why? Why didn't anybody say anything before? I mean, we all lived here. We all went to the same pubs, went to the same shops. Why, after all these years, people saw these things and then just kept quiet?
It's fear of ridicule. I mean, it's a close-knit community. People don't want to be seen as crazy. They keep things like this to themselves. They try and rationalise them away. But when someone shows a genuine interest, when they feel safe to share, the stories emerge.
So you're looking up at the same sky, seeing the same lights? But what happened to me? What happened to me in the quarry? Wasn't just watching, wasn't just seeing lights. Something happened, something different, something happened to me there.
What we need to understand. Do you know, how do you feel now? I mean, with the fact that I've shown you that there's other people who've witnessed this phenomenon, does it change anything for you?
Well, it validates me in a way. It supports the fact that maybe I haven't lost my mind, that my memory isn't just some fantasy, some make-believe. But these things that I thought I was imagining were real. They were really happening here in Worksworth. We need to talk to these people. We need to find out what they saw. We need to see if there was anything that they could tell me to help me understand what happened to me.
During the time leading up to Arthur's arrival, I had been compiling a number of witness statements. Some of them I recorded myself, and others were sent in to me. On the third day of Arthur's visit, I received via email this interview by Henry Rowe.
Hello, my name is Henry Rowe. We've been exchanging a few emails. What I thought I'd do is I thought I would set up my phone and just record what I experienced that night and how I felt, and indeed how I feel about it now, really. I was staying in the Worksworth area. I'd been on a walking holiday around the Dales there. It's a beautiful countryside. On the evening in question, I had been at a pub, and I was walking back to the bed and breakfast where I was staying that night. It was about 9:30 at night. Around that time, I wouldn't have been any earlier, and it wouldn't have been any later. I was making my way back, and the route back just took me along the edge of Middleton Moor. I wasn't aware of anything to start off with. It was a fairly clear night. And then I just became aware of the faintest of sort of glows. And what I thought was a sort of an outline of a cloud initially. Didn't think anything of it, and I thought it was some sort of like a balloon. And the more I looked, the more the lights began to sort of develop along the side and the underside of this triangular shaped object in the sky. The lights were very unusual. There was a sort of a bioluminescence to them. So they would sort of shimmer through multiple colours, a bit like a sort of a bird's plumage, or a bit like oil on a sort of wet road. When you get that sort of that rainbow kind of pattern, but it would sort of shimmer through different colours, and then there would be the most intense colours and the most intense brightnesses of white on the side of an underside of this object. Since the experience, I've tried to look up online if anyone else saw in that area. There seem to be reports of various phenomena that area, and over a period of time, there was someone. I saw some video footage of something in New Mexico, triangular shaped. It's very difficult to see from the video that I was looking at. The lights, whether I could get that iridescent sort of organic light, but it sounded very similar. And now the odd thing is that I felt it afterwards. The next day, just out walking through the hills, and a kind of powerful sense of, is it there? Is it watching me? And I'd stop and look around, and there was nothing. Just a quiet, ordinary day. But I couldn't shake the feeling. I couldn't shake the feeling that maybe I was being watched.
As Arthur delved deeper into the physical landscape of Worksworth, the desolate quarries, the wind-swept moor, the quiet pathways of stony wood, it wasn't just about finding clues. It was about confronting fragments of his own past. You could see the internal struggle. The memory was still elusive, yet the connection to this place, to the unresolved feeling from 1985, became almost palatable. He wasn't just investigating a phenomena, he was reliving a part of himself.
We're going through some old historical archives, and I think I found something.
What is it?
Look closely. The background.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a bit blurry, but those images, it's almost like figures. It's exactly what I saw in my dreams.
There's also a letter. Where is it? Let me find it. It's here. The letter's anonymous. It's dated 1983. If you look at the handwriting, it's rambling, shall we say, but the important thing, I think, is tall figures, bright light, a strange mark on the arm.
A mark? Yeah, well... Yeah, I remember that. It's sort of a circular mark. I had it, but it went away after a couple of days, so I didn't think anything about it.
If you look here,
it started back in '85, summer. I remember it being a clear night, just like he described, Arthur. Walking home from the late shift at the quarry, the sky was full of stars. It was peaceful. And then I saw it. It wasn't a plane. There was no flashing lights, no engine noise, just a shape, and you could see it. Clearer, sort of triangular, but with these soft rounded edges. And underneath, lights, not like anything I'd ever seen before. They kind of pulsed, different colours, blue, then white, then a kind of soft orange, but silent, absolutely silent. It just hovered there for a while, maybe a minute, maybe longer, and then it tilted. And one of the lights underneath got really bright, almost blinding, and then it just shot off, straight up. There was a feeling afterwards, a sense that something had shifted. The dreams, they weren't normal. They were vivid, hyper-real, bright, with white light. And a humming sound vibrated through my bones. And beings, tall, thin shapes like shadows moving in the light. I couldn't see their faces clearly, but I felt their presence. Cold and inquisitive. I'd wake up exhausted, even though I felt like I hadn't slept at all and felt disorientated. It became quite frequent. Those gaps in time. I could be walking from the quarry and then suddenly the sun would be higher, and it'd be halfway home, and no memory of the last stretch. And then the marks started. Small red dots in strange patterns on my arms and legs. Lines that looked like they'd been drawn with a sharp instrument. But no pain, no bleeding. They'd just appear overnight. Deep down I knew they were connected. Connected to the dreams, to the feelings of being taken. It's the feeling that's worst, the sense of violation. Like they've been inside my head, rummaging around, through my thoughts, my memories. Sometimes I get these flashes, images that aren't my own, cold metallic rooms, strange instruments, and faces, those tall, thin faces, and the sounds. High-pitched whining, like machinery. Like a language, not words, but sounds and clicks and whistles. It's been a living hell all these years. Just trying to lead a normal life, working and paying the bills. All knowing they could come back any night. Tried everything. Pills. Locking the doors. Even trying to stay awake all night. But it doesn't matter. When they want to come, they come.
But it's exactly what I remember. I remember these things happening here in Worksworth.
For Stewart, the encounter in the summer of 1985 near the Worksworth quarry began with a silent, inexplicable craft hanging in the night sky. Unlike Arthur's singular experience, this sighting marked the beginning of a reoccurring and terrifying phenomenon. For years he has lived with the unsettling feeling of nocturnal visitation. His body bearing unexplained marks and injuries echo the accounts of others who claim to have been unwilling subjects of extraterrestrial encounters. His testimony reveals a pattern of vivid and disturbing dreamlike states, disorientating time loss, and a pervasive sense of violation. His existence has become a fragile equilibrium between waking life and the terrifying reality of his alleged abductions, a stark contrast to Arthur's singular, albeit traumatic experience. The quiet darkness of Worksworth holds a sustained and deeply personal horror for Stewart.
Rational explanations are, of course, the only explanations worth considering. The human mind, as I'm sure you're aware, is a remarkably malleable instrument. It's prone to misinterpretations, suggestion, and a general lack of critical thinking.
We've spoken with a number of people who describe lights moving in ways that defy conventional aircraft, silent operation, and even periods of lost time.
Lights in the sky could be anything. Atmospheric conditions, unusual cloud formations reflecting light, even military exercises that people aren't privy to. As for silent movement, sound propagation can be affected by various factors. And the feeling of lost time, well, it's highly subjective. It could be microsleeps, stress-induced dissociation, or simply a poor recollection of events.
But surely the consistency of the descriptions, especially in a localised area like Wirksworth.
The power of suggestion, confirmation bias. Once a narrative takes hold within a community, people are more likely to interpret ambiguous stimuli in a way that supports that narrative. They hear stories, they expect to see something, and lo and behold, they do. The power of suggestion is immense.
And what about the personal accounts? Feelings of being observed, vivid dreams of alien encounters?
Sleep paralysis, hypnagogic hallucinations, the anxieties of modern life. These are all well-documented phenomena. The human mind, when deprived of proper sleep or subjected to stress, can produce remarkably realistic and disturbing imagery.
And then what about the shared details? The specific descriptions of beings like medical procedures, the sense of being taken?
My dear filmmaker, the alien abduction narrative is a cultural meme, a pervasive trope in our media. It's not surprising that individuals, especially those prone to suggestibility, might incorporate these elements into their own experiences.
Yes, but some of these people have no prior exposure to these narratives. They're ordinary people with no interest in science fiction or UFOs.
The subconscious is a vast and largely unexplored territory. We carry within us the echoes of ancient archetypes, the remnants of ancestral fears. These can surface in dreams, hallucinations, even perceived memories. They can be triggered by seemingly innocuous stimuli.
So you're suggesting that these are internal experiences, projections of the mind?
I'm suggesting that until we have verifiable, repeatable data, until we have something that can be subjected to rigorous scientific scrutiny, we must adhere to the principles of rational inquiry. We must resist the siren call of the fantastical.
So you believe there's no possibility of anything truly unexplained?
The universe is vast, of course. We cannot claim to understand everything, but until we have verifiable, repeatable data, until we have something that can withstand the rigors of scientific scrutiny, we must adhere to the principles of reason and evidence.
But what if the evidence is subjective? What if it's based on personal experience?
Then it's not evidence at all. It's anecdote. And anecdotes, while perhaps entertaining, have no place in the realm of serious inquiry.
Our investigation into Worksworth's Unexplained began with one man's fragmented memory. But as we listened to Arthur, and as we spoke to others, a far larger picture began to emerge. The activity wasn't isolated. What we soon discovered was a chilling parallel to Arthur's own story. Stuart, a local man, revealed he had a similar, terrifying encounter around the very same time, in 1985, just miles from where Arthur's life changed. His experience also involved an unidentifiable light, and like Arthur, Stuart has been haunted ever since by unsettling dreams, a lingering sense of observation, and even unexplained physical marks. This direct matching story, two individuals, separate yet connected by a shared traumatic event, decades apart, intensified our focus. Our experts helped us connect even more dots. From the formal reports of the 2016 Worksworth sighting to the well-documented Bakewell incident of 1993 and the persistent, intriguing activity around Bonsall with its famous alleged footage. Derbyshire, it seems, has been a canvas for the unexplained for decades. Our experts also confirm these patterns are not unique to this region, yet their concentration here is undeniable. But what ties these varied incidents together beyond simple coincidence? Is it a shared human experience, an undiscovered natural force, or something else entirely? What connects Arthur's terrifying memory, Stuart's parallel encounter, and the ongoing mystery of this landscape? The answers remain elusive, yet as we've witnessed, Arthur's own memories begin to stir. His deeply personal quest aligning with this broader, documented history of this land, and now Stuart's chilling, matching story. We can't ignore the possibility that something profound is at play in the skies above Worksworth.
It isn't some delusion, is it? It really happened. It's been happening for years here in Worksworth and the others. They've seen the same things, the same being. And that thing, it was at the Stardisc, watching, listening. I've got to go up to the quarry. I've got to go back to where this all started. Maybe there's something there, something that can help me understand.
You sure? Something may happen.
Something did happen. It happened to me, maybe to others. We can't ignore it. We can't just pretend it didn't happen. I need some answers. And I think that the quarry is where I'll find them. Or where they'll find me. Will you come with me?
Okay. Driven by the need for answers and a growing sense of urgency, Arthur makes a fateful decision, a return to the quarry, the site of his initial trauma.
I feel it. This is the place.
This time nothing happened. The sky was silent. His journey, the one he had set out on, was over. He had faced the memory and found he wasn't alone in it. A few days later, he returned back to the United States. But for me, something had shifted. Arthur's search for closure was finished, but mine, it seemed, had just begun. I found myself drawn back here, to this place, built for looking up. I started spending my days at the Stardisc, watching, waiting, recording. Most nights nothing happens. The sky is just the sky. But every now and then there's a flicker, a movement that defies logic, a shape where there should be none. After all this time, after all the stories and all the searching, I can't give you a definitive answer. But I can no longer deny the feeling, shared by so many in this quiet corner of England, that perhaps something truly is in the skies over Wirksworth.